Hello guys, Tops here. Today I have some thoughts on army composition in Battle Brass, or rather company composition in Battle Brass. I got asked multiple times from my dear viewers how I composition my company and what stuff I want to have in my company and what not. This I think this heavily depends on their play style. This is the first thing I have to say. So it's I think it comes down to personal preference and personal choices. I like to play longer campaigns and greed for God Bros and try to have fun and build a super strong company and have like a lot of cool brothers and a lot of cool gear. That's what I like to do. It's pretty late in this campaign. It's our current Iron Man run. You can watch the streams. They are on YouTube, by the way, if you want to see what we did with the company so far. Okay, army composition. I generally heavily prefer Battleforge two-handers with Berserk. Not the Forge neutrals, I like the Berserkers more. Downside of this is they have way higher requirements than the same Nimble version, and they have higher requirements than Battleforge neutral. I really don't like Battleforge neutral. I really feel Berserk just does so much. It's definitely the best damage perk in the game, and maybe definitely one of the best perks overall in the game, I would say. Yeah, really like this perk. And that's kind of like in these late game fights, just hitting once isn't really good enough, in my opinion. Killing your opponents fast and killing a lot of them is just crucial for success. So I basically greed for a Battleforge two-hand frontline. And all of my two-handed Battleforge frontline builds are viable for this. And of course you can make all of these guys fatigue neutral if you like to. That's completely up to you. And then on top of that, I like to have utility bros, right? And then in a certain fight, I go into the fight and I think to myself, what kind of utility bro do I need? Do I want to have a tank or a crossbow guy, maybe a dodgy fast sword duelist, a gunner, an archer to snipe necromancers and hexen, right? Do I need two indom tanks to tank down Unholds or tank down larger groups of opponents? Do I need a spear wall guy to delay multiple orcs and chosens, right? All stuff like this is what I consider. But usually the fundamental thing is I prefer damage output. Big two-handers do the most damage, right, in the game. So having a bunch of big two-handers in the front who are really tanky because they are Battleforge and they have defensive perks like Steel Brow, Underdog, stuff like 9 lives, Colossus, like they can tank a hit and still dish out an insane amount of damage with their big weapons. Okay, this is our Iron Man run, so I just have what I have here, kind of. So let's start with our current company. Sorry guys, this will be a lot of rambling because I think it's a very deep topic, a very complicated topic. There's a lot to say, and this is more how I prefer to build my company and what I have found to be reliably and working, right? Okay, so for my Battleforge frontline, if I look into a fight, I want to take as many of those big two-handers as I can and as less of utility bros as I can, right? I only take the utility bros that I need normally, because like these utility bros, especially stuff like tanks, bannermans, archers, gunners, crossbows, they don't do that much damage than these guys, and they are definitely not as tanky, except for the tank maybe. So I like to have on my flanks normally the best brothers. And what I found, especially on guys that are on the flank, they are always getting surrounded, and sometimes they play away from the bannerman. So like these guys definitely need high resolve. Like I would say taking Fortified Mind and going to like 70 to 80 resolve is kind of like to a certain degree mandatory. Of course you can use the arena buff for that. But I really like to have flanking guys with high resolve. This guy, for instance. Right? I don't know what he was making on the... It doesn't matter. So like having guys on the flanks, big two-handers with AoE weapons is really nice. So I like greatswords for this because of the swing. And you can also on the left flank take a great hammer for this, which I do not like so much. As you can see, the big hammer hits counterclockwise. I don't like this too much because it pushes opponents sometimes away from you. They knock them back, so orcs, for instance, can just charge you back. And every time an opponent steps on your field of zone of control, it triggers a moral check. So you basically, if you knock somebody back, you give yourself another chance to fail a moral check, which is like, yeah, I don't like it too much. Also, the damage from the AoE is like really low, and the hammer already struggles with like relatively low damage. Has a shit ton of armor pen though. Like against warriors, orc warriors, really nice. But in general, I prefer the greatswords because the greatswords, they have additional chance to hit, which means you can get away with lower stats. Like if you want to make a reliable AoE hammer, you need the God Bro for this basically. On these bros, you can get away with lesser stats, and you can take stuff like Fortified Mind to further enhance your durability, and you can take stuff like reach advantage to increase your melee defense, for instance. Yeah, so I really like the greatswords for the flank. They are, in terms of reliability, always reliable, and a lot of the time I can make them from early game bros, from lowborn early game bros, and especially with veteran levels, they seem to be always a very staple in my army. They always tend to perform well. You can get away with lower melee attack, and most of the time the lowborns have higher hit points, fatigue, and resolve. And yeah, that makes them really good for these kind of flanking operations, so to speak. Okay, and then in the center, from there on, I have the big two-handers. This guy is, what is he? A butcher with a badish. And by the way, for the people who think you need so much fatigue to make Battleforged Berserkers, you don't. Like, you can just take Brownie, and this guy with 50 fatigue is fine. That's enough. It's not the best, it's not perfect, but it's enough, right? Absolutely enough. By the way, for Battleforged 2 and Frontline, I searched for 30 plus melee defense and 90 plus melee attack, right? With still 85 plus hit points and reasonable amount of resolve and fatigue. And I take a lot of perks that give me additional stats, right? So also take Underdog on all of my frontliners, just as a default. So all of my brothers can be surrounded and not get her melee defense reduced, right? So, yeah, and then like it's completely up to you what kind of frontliners you take. You can take Forge Neutrals if you like. You can also use Forge Neutrals for the flank. You know, that's up to you. But I like to have these damage dealers in the center. This one I'm experimenting with Badishes. Give them another shot. I try to make them work, although I don't like them too much. Yeah, but like the damage and the AoE is alright, right? This one is a very special one. This is fast Battleforge. He's neutral, but he's an initiative build. So this is basically, if you find a brother that could become a fencer and you try to make him Battleforge, this is what this looks like. So the idea behind this build is you just move your brother forward and he always goes first, no matter what. He low rolled on his initiative, sadly. But if I get this guy to like 130 initiative or something, he will always go first with Relentless. So I always have a big two-handed mace that goes first, which is really nice. This guy, yeah, destroyed the Madman like nothing. Yeah, just 4-shotted him. He had no chance. Barbarian Madman Destroyer. Yeah, I have a 2-handed flail here, because I found a famed one. With additional damage and armor pen, I think. Pretty nasty, that thing. Yeah, and you can see, like, you can make lower bones into Battleforge 200 frontliners. That's no problem. Like, this guy is just a random ass Daydailer who just has 2 stars attack and defense. And yeah. I sadly don't have Brownie for him, but especially the axes, the normal great axes and the flails, they don't need too much fatigue, even with Berserk. So yeah, you can get away with lower fatigue, and you can fix the fatigue issue later with veteran levels and of course with famed lighter gear. Yeah, this cleaver, for instance, this is just a bad cleaver guy, but I was kind of desperate. I didn't found like a good guy for the cleaver in this run. Like, our fatigue is low and the other sets are low too, so this guy was a little bit of a pain, but he's huge, so I wanted to give this huge guy the cleaver and see what he does. So I always try to make a cleaver because of his high damage output, but a lot of the times it's hard to find somebody who can actually hit twice with a 2-handed weapon. Like, you need a relatively large fatigue pool for the cleaver, because I like to play him with recover as well. So for the cleaver, I search for like 70 usable fatigue after gear. And a lot of the time I don't have a perk for Brownie, sadly. But yeah, you can skip line dives for Brownie if you like to. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, and then I love sword lances. I just have to say that. My favorite build definitely in the game. And these guys are always the best killers. Like, their damage output is just nasty. It's insane. They are always the highest killers in my team. By far. Although these great swords are doing pretty well as well. And that's what I mean. Like, I really like the AoEs. Like, reliable AoE from like a sword lance or a great sword is just so much damage, right? And does well in every fight against most opponents. For a sword lance, I always greed for a famed sword lance if I can. And you really need high attack for a sword lance and relatively high fatigue. But because it's a reach weapon, you can get away with lower defenses. And yeah, that's nice. Also, these guys, they level up fast because they get so many kills. So you can fix them with veteran levels. This is just a lowborn manhunter that I made into this guy, because in this run I cannot find high fatigue back rods for some reason. It is just ridiculous. Yeah, I really like to have one of those guys. Yeah, that guy is currently wounded and he's leveling up. But yeah, this guy will also be just a generic frontliner. It's a strong oath taker. It's like 60 resolve already. Which is, yeah, it's pretty insane. As a famed mace, whatever. Yeah, but this guy will be another frontliner as well. When he's leveled up. I always have the level up guys in the backline. Yeah, Iron Lung, Cell Sword. Yeah, this guy is kind of an experiment. We try to level him up. Although it looks like it's like no stars and really bad other stats. But I'm so desperate for people with fatigue. I try to make him work, but he probably will not be long in our company. Yeah, Disowned Noble is another experiment to get him done. Yeah, this is the Read Black Bookie guy. This is an event guy. Okay, so we have established that I really like to have, if possible, like a full front line, right? 9 brothers in the front and like the other 3 in the back. And most of the time, in like hard fights at least, I like to have my bannerman, you know, like so. This guy is a gunner bannerman, which I really enjoy. Found a great bro for that. I think you kind of have to find a good brother for that. But this gunner is kind of like, it's still a tanky rotation guy with a gun. So pretty nasty, that brother. Yeah, I like to have my bannerman for harder fights in the back, and then like short lance guy, although this guy could be in the front line, and then you could have another ranged bros back here. Yeah, I am experimenting with overwhelm fearsome gunners. So far they do really well. I have another one of those. They seem to work well even with low stat requirements, so I really enjoy that. So composition like this could be a thing where you have like just 3 utility backliners and then the rest frontline. And then of course I want to have utility bros, right? Everything that is not a big Battleforge 2-hander frontline is a utility bro, right? And these utility bros, for instance, are gunners. They debuff with fearsome and overwhelm, and they shred armor away, so my 2-handers can kill. My bannerman does, of course, rally the troops, gives everybody more resolve from just being there, so it's obvious. If he has a gun or something else, he can just shoot and contribute to the damage, or you can build him for damage if you like. Give him another 2-handed weapon. Yeah, but this utility guy I have in fights where I just need to rally the troops a lot, or where my bros, in hard fights where my bros need to be rallied or rotated, right? So in tougher fights I have those guys. Yeah, there are fights where the gun doesn't do much, but an archer, right? I like to have an archer in my backhand for sniping Hexen and Necromancers. And this is a triple star hunter, so yeah, in like Necromancer fights or other fights too, right? Archers are really good in noble fights, they can be really good in big brigand fights and nomad fights where you have backliners that have strong ranged weapons. So your archer can just shoot down the opponent marksmen, right? So I like to have this guy on the offhand for these kind of occasions, right? Okay, the next one that I like to have, and I think that is something that really helps you in a decent amount of fights, are tanks, right? And in my opinion, what makes the tank worth, or why I want to have a tank in the first place is indom. Because in big barbarian fights, I like to indom tank the Unholds, and they can also work well versus orcs, right? So if I have a super strong tank, I put him on the flank and he just indom tanks a bunch of barbarians until help arrives, right? He basically delays a bunch of opponents, so my big 2-handers have more time killing tough opponents, and my tank is purely designed to tank. I don't have rotate or taunt on them. I don't think these perks are necessary for these like hyper tanks. His job is to tank, not to play with the team much. I take Lone Wolf on some of them. Yeah, and as you can see, this guy's just a peddler, so these guys are really good for nimble dodge tanks, although I did not invest heavily in initiative on this specific character. I could just lower his initiative a little bit. Oh, he's fat as well. Yeah, he's gluttonous, whatever. Like, what I want on tanks is high resolve, high defense, and so we can also a lot of fatigue. So we can spam indom and tank them down, or shield wall. Yeah, this guy is a nibble tank, so he has more fatigue to work with, but he has to worry more about being hit, right? Because his armor is not protecting him much. If he gets hit once, like he already takes hit point damage, and has to deal with stuff like bleeding, fearsome checks from ancient undead and all that kind of stuff. So nimble is a little downside there. Yeah. Next utility guy is a crossbow guy. In this case, this is just a random adapted that I found in the beginning, and I probably throw away soon. But like he costs me nothing. He doesn't cost me any wage, so I keep him so far. Yeah, that didn't do a lot of kills, but I have the build of the crossbow polearm. This is not this guy. Because the spiked impaler just pushes back opponents, right? So this is basically a disarm for stuff like two-handed fallen heroes. It's decent versus chosen, and especially with fearsome, it adds more to the utility for like a bro who has low stats. Can be early on nice utility, and even later to a certain degree useful in some fights if other brothers are wounded, right? It's a classic backpack bro in my opinion. Especially with rotation, he can just rotate in and save somebody else who is more valuable, like one of the two-handers when he gets in trouble. Right, the next guy is Sword Duelist. I make them early, like it's a really strong early game build, I think. Can just take most thieves make them into this build. Because they have so high base defense, the thieves, if you give them dodge, they get to like 50 defense easily in a lot of fights. And the sword gives you 10% additional chance, so they have a decent amount of damage still. Yeah, pretty nice. These guys relatively reliable as a frontline, and versus not so dangerous opponents, I can just send this guy on a flank on his mission, and because of his high defense, he can just hold the flank versus brigands and stuff, and just chop them down one by one. Solid. These guys are really solid. I like them as a backpack build. Yeah, and that's kind of it. Like, at least this is it for our current playthrough. I mean, we can load some other saves. We can load. Oh no, wait. We save and quit. It's Iron Man. Have to be careful. Okay, so fearsome monolith. This was our last one. We did some fearsomes. Let's look how our company looks. Oh yeah. We have. Was this our sticker run? Oh yeah, that was our sticker run. That one was a lot of fun. Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Okay, so as you can see, like just a huge amount of big two-handed frontliners is a staple in my company. Fencers is another one of these funny builds that you might want to have. They can carry certain fights. Like, they are decent versus goblins, and they are also decent versus human enemies, like low HP, medium armor. They really excel versus that, and a lot of, actually most opponents that you will meet have low to medium armor and like below 75 hit points. Yeah, so fencers are like, they're not good in any fights. Like in the hard orc and barbarian fights, they're not really good at most of the time because they're squishy. But as a glass cannon build, they tend to do well versus like the nomads. Like, maybe if you be careful and you don't get sanded. Like, they can solo brigand camps that have scary archers and stuff. Like, even late game brigand camps can quite hurt your Battleforge frontliners. Like, their range can focus down one of them and then it hurts. And these guys make quick work out of them, or can make quick work out of them. Oh, we have another archer here, as I see. Yeah, terrible archer. Hey, what a faint bow. Yeah, and we have another sword lance monster. I really like the huge trait on them because you have the additional damage with less defense, but because you have a ranged weapon, you can get away with the less defense. And I really like to give them stuff like Executioner, so they get more damage, and I like Headhunter on them as well. Didn't make it on this bro, but yeah, look at this, 387 kills, absolute beast. Especially for like relatively early purchase, bro. And this guy is just shield expert, Ronnie. I think he was a hammer shield guy who now has a two-handed hammer. I don't know, whatever. He's just here. Oh, this guy looks like a monolith tank. Yeah, this is a lone wolf Battleforge tank for the black monolith specifically. as the guilders embrace already. I search for somebody with iron lungs, so I can give him, and really high resolve, so I can give him fatigue potion, so he can shield wall every single turn to give him insane defense. This guy, I just got him. Okay, he's a converted crusader, which like alright. Huge guy as well. Wow, whatever. Just the guy. That's my bannerman here. Like, not when I don't find somebody with like high attack, a lot of the times I just take somebody who has like really high defense and really high resolve, and then I make them into a rotation banner tank, so to speak. Yeah. And we have another guy, night vision. Okay, just a Boya triple star, just another gunner for you. And another gunner, and another gunner. I'm enjoying the gunners recently. And he's the mad guy who read the Black Book. I think this was after Goblin City. Yeah, I think Goblin City was over here. We just did Goblin City with them. Okay, let's load another campaign. Undead City? Okay. What about this? Is this after Monolith? Is this after Monolith? So I think we either did Monolith right away or we are about to do Monolith, one of the two. Yeah. Again, we have, it doesn't matter really. Again, we have an Iron Lungs tank. We have another tank and another tank. We have 2 archers for the utility. Swordlands guy is a Swordlands guy, right? Or is he? Or probably looks more like an initiative. No, this guy was a sword duelist. He's currently carrying an item. Monk for the good events, of course. This guy, and then we have, yeah, Iron Lungs, Cleaver guy. Oh yeah, this guy, sword duelist with the Reproach of the Old Gods. I like to make him Battleforge as well, really nice. Yeah, and again, all the big 2-handers of the world. Better Cleaver this time. Crappy AoE hammer, although he has a famed one. I still don't like this build. Bannerman, of course, and yeah, the big 2-handers. Swordlands, yeah. Approaching insane amount of kills. Cleavers get a lot of kills too. Yeah. AoE Greatsword, look at him. Or Dump Hedge Knight has again a lot of kills. So yeah, this is kind of, yeah, I think Black Monolith was down here. Yeah, I think we just did Black Monolith. Although, where is the armor? The Conqueror's armor? Oh, wait. There we go. Yeah, there's the Emperor's armor. It's the Conqueror's helmet, right? No. But it's from the Conqueror. The Conqueror's armor, right? The Conqueror has that armor. Yeah, this, we just did Black Monolith. Yeah, again, like a lot of Battleforge 2-hander plus utility bros. And we... Okay, I don't think Anatomist counts. Militia, let's load Militia. Let's see what I did with Militia for my company composition. Militia was different, I remember. We just brute force Monolith, but again, like, I like to have 2-handed guys, but in this case, I just did a lot of Nimble as well. Because we are limited to low bounds. And we just brute forced. Yeah, I remember. I just brute forced Melitha with a bunch of just garbage bros that are low level, no underdogs, nothing. Bunch of bros, yeah. Just random pike bros. Actually, I have a thrower. Yeah, throwers are really efficient early on, but I tend to not like them that much. But yeah, they do a lot of damage. Crossbow polearm, yeah, just another utility bro that I like with like rotation. This guy does not have rotation. Yeah, sword duelist and crossbow thrower hybrid it seems, and another crossbow guy. Yeah, so like peasant militia, much wider weapon variety, kind of make stuff that I currently have, not stuff that I kind of want. Kind of funny though. Yeah, just random sword duelists and some two-handers, but much more nimble in this fight. Yeah, and we are about to do monolith, and we did monolith with them. It was kind of funny. Let's check if we have another one. Lone Wolf cheat. Ah yeah, this was the where we could create a starting brother, and I think we had the anatomist potions too. That was a fun one for sure. Yeah, look at all the anatomist potions. That was kind of funny. Of a bruised up company. Did we just do Black Monolith? Is that true? Yeah, we just did Black Monolith. The boys are injured. Alright. Was funny. I think... Oh, Cultist. Let's check out Cultist. It's nice if I don't have Iron Man, so I can always load save and make videos about certain fights and stuff. Oh yeah, Cultist. Yeah. Cultist. Yeah, tank and the two-handed frontliners, right? Oh yeah, Swordlands. Bannerman, of course, is our Daddy Cool, Voice of Darth Cool. Yeah, Katal Duelist. Tanks. Oh yeah, Axe Duelist. I rarely make them, harder to make. Crossbow polearm hybrid, in this case Battleforged. And our great sword, of course. We actually have another AU. Oh, this time we have a quick hand hammer. Yeah. This build has like is not too strong on the flanks in like tough fights, but is still okay enough, and has, because of the quick hands, more utility. So I like this one. Altstein, Archer. Yeah. We have an Archer here. And yeah, just another Fencer for some fun utility. Let's load a last one, but I think you kind of already got the idea, right? Battleforge, Monolith, Nolos. I think I was testing tanks. Yeah, I think I was testing tank setup. Yeah, I was testing the Battleforge tank setup here. Yeah, again, just all the two-handers. This time we have famed maces. Mace duelist, sword duelist. If I find famed maces with additional damage and armor pen, I make mace duelist once in a while, but normally I prefer big two-handers. And for frontline, I always prefer to have Battleforge over Nimble, because Nimble frontliners without shields, they tend to die fast, and they have to worry much more about a lot of nasty status effects. So yeah, that is that. Another Fencer, another Nimble tank, our Battleforge Archer. Yeah, Battleforge Archer. That was a funny one. Which shows you can have fun in Battle Brass and still play the game on high difficulty. This looks like Mace Katal. The Mad Guy. Yeah, Crossbow polearm for the utility, although he doesn't have rotation again. And this guy, yeah, sword duelist who has currently a great sword. Yeah, I think you get the idea, guys. Fatigue neutral, yeah. Hammer. I was testing fatigue neutrals as well, I think. Oh yeah, that's a good cleaver. That's a good cleaver. All right, I hope you got the idea. Battleforge two-handers are kind of my staple frontline with Berserk. Sometimes I have Battleforge duelist with Berserk, but a lot of the times I don't. And then on top of that, depending on what I fight and how I fight, I use utility bros like bannermans, tanks, archers, crossbows, throwers, gunners, fencers, crossbow polearm, backline stuff, sword lances, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah, I really like these kind of playstyles. Battleforge frontline, and then just smash them. All right, guys, this is it for this video. I think I have to make different videos to that. Go a little bit more in depth on certain things. This is kind of like a overview on how I tend to build my companies and what kind of works for me. Again, was requested a lot. This is how I composition my company, my Battle Royale army. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it till here, you probably didn't. But to those guys who did, it's appreciated very much. I stream daily on YouTube and on Twitch. You can join me there. I have a Discord. You can join me there as well. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you tomorrow or in the next video. Have a nice day, guys. Bye-bye.